I'd like to start off with a couple of questions for the audience that will give you a feeling for what I've been immersed in the last 3 years. A question first for the women. Imagine that little boy you sat beside in 3rd grade, you know, the one who struggled to learn to read, who maybe had special education classes, who maybe copied your answers on your tests. And have you ever wondered why he's now running your pension fund and driving a Lexus? Okay. That's one question, and now a question for the men. Think about that very highly gifted, high-achieving, well-organized, disciplined woman in your MBA or a law class. Have you ever wondered why she's now working, say, 3 or 4 days a week for a nonprofit foundation instead of running for office or running her own Fortune 500 company? Sometimes the outcome of sex differences is not exactly what we would expect. So I'd like to ask you to kind of consider with me some of these paradoxes. Where I started with this is because I'm a developmental psychologist, and what people don't know who don't work in the field is that you spend your life with troubled boys. Every day you open up your waiting room door and there's a Justin, a Jared, an Andrew, a Michael, or whatever. And every day. So, I'm just going to run through some of the statistics with you. Attention deficit disorder is twice as common among boys as girls. Conduct disorder, this is very serious behavior problems, kids who are lighting things on fire, swearing at their teachers, and so on. 3 times as common among boys as girls. Language disorders, 4 times as common, and this includes dyslexia, naming problems, stuttering. Anybody met a stutterer? I'll bet my bottom dollar he was a boy. And finally, Asperger's syndrome, which is a high-functioning form of autism, which at that range is 10 times as common among boys as girls. This is not something culture created. This is something that biology created. And if any of you were in the audience for Steve Scherer's interesting presentation yesterday on the genome, he does research in the genome that maps out autistic spectrum disorders. Now, how I got started with this question was really that after several decades of seeing boys, and usually brought in to my office by very talented, gifted, highly educated mothers, I started to see some of these early, as Moses called them, losers, featured as success stories in the press. So one had become a celebrity chef. He had dyslexia, I remember, and started to punch kids out in the schoolyard. That's one of the stories I tell in my book. Another one had become an inventor. Another was featured in the financial pages of the Globe and Mail as an investment person. A fourth one, this one was really shocking to me because this boy, when I saw him at age 7, he was like lighting curtains on fire. And now he was featured first in my local paper as a designer of some renown, and then on the Saturday I saw him in the style section of the Globe and Mail, and then I opened my Sunday New York Times, and there he was again. And I thought, darn, I'm a good psychologist, but I'm not that good. So it made me wonder, is there some sort of flip side to this male biological fragility? And of course, to bring Moses in again, talking about flip sides, his own history as a child of refugees, as a refugee himself and Holocaust survivor. And he used, when I talked to him yesterday, he used the phrase, the advantage of disadvantage, and which I think he thinks had a big role to play in his own success.